What's up YouTube, Mike here from Techno GI, and today I wanted to do a full review of the iPad Pro. Now obviously I don't have the Apple Pencil yet, so once I get the pencil I'll just do an updated review, but really by now you guys have seen all the specs, so I'm not going to give you all the nerd specs, processors, all that. There's been 100 videos out already. I just want to kind of give you what I like about this tablet and what I don't like, and finally what I recommend it to you. So let's get started. So before I give you kind of what I like about this device and what I don't like about it, I'm just going to give you a quick tour of the hardware real quick. Reach around the camera. As you can see, this is 12.9 inches diagonally, so it's basically a 13-inch tablet, which is the size of most MacBooks, MacBook Airs. It's remarkably thin for as big as the screen is. It's actually impressively thin and impressively light. And you see you got the new little adapter here for the Apple Smart Keyboard, and hopefully developers will come up with other uses for this, because I'm sure this can do a lot more, because it can hopefully transfer data and stuff like that. So, but anyways, the only thing that you can use this for now is keyboards. And going around the horn, you've got your standard lightning connector. So like I said, really this is essentially a blown up iPad Air 2, with the exception you've got 4 speakers now. You've got basically a speaker on each of the corners. You've got the same home button, which looks freakishly small on the iPad Pro. So I don't know, maybe they should have made this button bigger, but it just looks freakishly small just because of how big the screen is. Going around the other side, you got your standard volume rocker buttons, microphone. You got more speakers. Of course, this is the cellular variant, so that's where the cellular antennas are stuffed. You've got a 1.2 megapixel camera in the front, and on the back side you get the nice gold finish, and in the corner, as always, you've got your 8 megapixel rear camera. Now I'm not one who really takes pictures with the tablet unless I have to, so I really didn't take any with this. If you want to take pictures with the tablet this big, have at it. And if you're buying this as a camera, then you're already a little screwed up. But what I'll use this camera for is if I'm in a pinch, or if I want to do some kind of document scanning with it. But that's a quick look at the hardware. So now let me go into what I like about this tablet and what I don't. So getting into what I really like about this tablet, and as you can see, I put this back in the Logitech case just so it'll stand up and prop up. But one of the big pros I like about this, believe it or not, is the size and weight of it. This thing, like I said, it's just say 13 inches, but this is a 13-inch display. But just how thin and light it is. I mean, it's only 1.57 pounds, and I think it's 6.9 millimeters thin. So that's quite an accomplishment for how this device is, how thin and light it is. So design and build quality, obviously, it's aluminum. It's the typical iPad chassis, but it is built really well. I have no complaints whatsoever. So moving on to my next pro, what I really like about this, like I said, is the build quality and the battery life. This battery, you know, Apple advertises it'll be about 10 hours of battery life, which is on par with the iPad Air 2, and that is definitely true. I've used this now for about, I guess, 3 days, and the battery life is excellent. It's on par with any iPad I've had, and of course, this being so large, it's got a bigger battery crammed inside of it. And of course, one of my favorite features about this, if not my favorite feature of this iPad, is the speakers. The sound on this thing is amazing. I mean, this thing is extremely loud. I mean, it'll be really hard to capture in the video how good these speakers are, but I was running on the treadmill the other day, and I used this. I played music off of it, and I could hear it over the treadmill. So the sound on this is impressive. It's the best sound of any tablet I've ever used. Previous to that, it was the Galaxy Note 12.2, Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. The speakers on that are really good, but this, having the 4 speakers, just really blows it away. I mean, hands down, no complaints whatsoever on the sound of this thing. Let's see, I'll see if I can pull up the music just to kind of show you. Let's see, Christmas, whatever. So I don't want to get any copyright things. That was just a quick demo. I don't want to get a copyright violation, but just rest assured, The sound on this and the speakers are awesome. No complaints there whatsoever. So moving on, like I said, performance on this thing is awesome. I'll give you a quick demo. Let me try and close everything out here. But as far as the Geekbench, so like I said, the performance of this thing, I'm going to show you the Geekbench. Like I said, this thing's got 4 gigs of RAM. It's got the new A9X chip, so it's smoking fast. And if you've ever run Geekbench 3 before, you know sometimes it takes a little while to run, but I'm running it on this, and it's pretty darn quick. It only takes a few seconds. Now, compared to the iPad Air 2, it's pretty substantial. You just saw how fast that was, but there's the numbers. Take them for what they're worth, but you can look at the iPad Air 2 is at 1800, so this is at 3200 for your single core and multi-core. Of course, compared to the Air 2, it's 54 to 45, so quite a bit higher, quite a substantial boost in this thing. So really, unfortunately, I've got a lot more cons than I do pros on this thing, but those are what I like about this, mostly the sound, the build quality, and just the performance. So now let's kind of get into what I don't like about this thing. And first off, it's the price. I mean, the price of this thing for what you get is just I don't know what Apple was smoking, but like I said, this starts at $799 for the 32 gigabyte entry level model. And of course, they didn't make a 16, thank goodness, because those are crap, or a 64. So you've got two choices. You've got 32 gigabytes for $799 or 128 gigabytes for $949, and that's the Wi-Fi model. If you get the cellular model, you're looking at $1,079, and this is all before taxes. So plus, if you want to get the Apple Smart Cover, that's $169, and then if you want to go ahead and splurge for the Apple Pencil, that's $99. So you add tax to that, and you're looking at a pretty good chunk of change. So this thing is definitely not cheap, and really, it is a good device, but I just think it should be about $200 cheaper. I think would be a fair price, unless they would, which brings me to my next con, which is the iOS. Unless they would update the iOS on this to make it more of a desktop experience, then I could justify the price tag. But as it sits now, really the price. So that's really my first con, and I'll show it up on the screen kind of from Apple website, the pricing scheme. And then the second con, so far, this is, like I said, this is a brand new device, hasn't been out long, but every time I've charged it overnight, about 3 or 4 times now, I've had to do a hard restart. So Apple's aware of the bug, but basically when you charge this and you leave it on the charger, for some reason it freezes the iPad. So Apple's aware of it, and they basically just say, hey, do a reset, which is the wrong answer, especially when you're paying $1,000 for this thing. It really shouldn't have that problem. And I can understand if it only happened once, but I've done it at least 3 times where I've had to restart this thing. So really, that's, Apple, bad on you. That's for what you pay for this. It should work flawlessly. So I'm very disappointed in that, to be honest with you. The device still works, but it's just really a pain in the butt. So moving on, like I said, to the OS. The OS really neuters this product. I mean, this thing is smoking fast. It's powerful, but it's the same iOS or OS that's on the iPad Air 2. So, I mean, where's the pro stuff? I mean, and let's get into it. Like I said, multitasking. It's just, here, I'll open, we'll open Safari. And then, of course, you slide over and you can get the other one you want. And right now, the multitasking, it's limited on the apps you can get. But the interface on this, in order to find the other apps you want to open, you've got this giant screen, but they just give you one row of these. So I've got to scroll and scroll and scroll until I find what I want. I mean, to me, that's just not taking advantage of the screen. It's not optimized. I mean, it's the same way that you do it on an iPad mini. So the multitasking on this, while it works well, it's just a crappy interface and crappy to get to what you want. So let me open something here. We'll open Maps. I mean, the interface is nice. I can have these 2 apps. I can use them interdependently, so it works nice. So I do like the multitasking, but the way you do it is just, I don't know, it sucks. I mean, to me, the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 is a multitasking beast, and the way it's integrated is so much better. I mean, there's shortcuts where you can bring up the apps, and when you do the slide over thing, it'll have the apps stacked in rows of 2. Whereas on this, it's just the 1 row, and it's just, you know, you got to search forever to find the app you want. So to me, that kind of cuts down there in productivity. So while the multitasking works good, the way you get to it, I think, sucks. So hopefully they optimize that in an update. And then moving on to picture-in-picture. Let me find YouTube. So the picture-in-picture works great if you use the native video app. But for whatever reason, if you use the YouTube app, you still cannot do picture-in-picture. So let's pick something here. I don't know, pick a little Brian Tong. Alright, we'll mute that. But there's no option here, as you see, for picture-in-picture. If you want to use picture-in-picture for YouTube, you've got to use... so as far as the picture-in-picture, if you want to use it, you have to go to the browser. And oh, by the way, if you go to Safari and you have YouTube installed, it forces you to go to the actual YouTube app. So you got to download an alternate browser. So every time you try and go to YouTube, it won't let you. So if you want to use the desktop version of YouTube so you can use picture-in-picture, you got to install Chrome. So let me show you. With Chrome, it works. So I can go to YouTube in Chrome. I can pick a video. We'll just pick one. Again, I want to be careful so I don't get any copyright violations. So right here, here's your option for picture-in-picture. So if you want to use it, you got to use a different browser. There you go. So then it works, as you can see. You can move it around, resize it, and it works nice. So I do like it. It's just makes no sense to me why Apple won't include it in the YouTube app, which I guess it's up to Google as the developer of the YouTube app to allow that. I don't know if it's Apple that's preventing them. Apple's kind of finicky that way. But anyways, if you want to use YouTube for picture-in-picture, you can only do it if you use a different browser and use the desktop thing. So again, those are some of my cons and gripes. Is the multitasking on this is just nowhere near where it is on any Google tablet, especially the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. Which brings me to another con is if you use the browser to watch YouTube, it only allows you to do 720p. Whereas if you use the YouTube app, then you can go to 1080p, which is a good thing. But moving on, like I said, I already beat that horse to death. Yeah, like I said, and finally, my biggest gripe again is just the OS. iOS. This is the same 5x4 apps you get on an iPad Mini, an iPad Air 2. I mean, they're just not taking advantage of this screen. I mean, look how much space you have between these. It's just ridiculous. You can still only have 6 on the bottom, and you got this entire large screen, almost 13 inches. So this OS is just not optimized, which drives me nuts. I mean, for instance, the keyboard, I'm using this, so I got to bring it up. The keyboard that you get digitally is actually really nice. However, 90% of the apps don't bring up this keyboard. They just bring up a crappy blown up one because they're not optimized for the iPad Pro yet. So, I mean, to me, the biggest handicap and biggest con of the iPad Pro is Apple. I mean, OS itself is just, they're not capitalizing this at all. I should be able to fit all my icons on one screen. So, that's exactly what you can do with the Samsung tablet. I've got everything. I'll show you. I've got a Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 right here. As you can see, I've got everything pretty much on one screen, and I've got widgets. So whereas with the iPad, you're nowhere near that, which is sad. It's just Apple not optimizing that screen size. So again, the biggest handicap of this device, oddly enough, is Apple. They're the ones that are really holding this device back and just really neutering it, which is sad, to be honest with you. But anyways, and then my last really big gripe is if you're using this as a laptop, not having mouse support. I hate typing, and then I got to reach up here to use my finger as a mouse. I'd rather be able to, stay down here. It's just more comfortable. So again, that's just a simple software update by Apple, but they won't do it. So personally, I'm hoping for the 9.1 or 9.2 jailbreak to hurry up and come out, so I can jailbreak this thing, and then I can essentially do what I want with it. So unfortunately, you've got to rely on the jailbreak developers to make this device what it deserves to be, because really it's like having a V10 and never going over 35 miles an hour. So that's essentially what this device is. It's just so neutered by the OS. I mean, it's kind of sad. So anyways, with that, let me remind you guys, this Logitech keyboard, I'm going to be doing a separate review on this. So if you want to see that again, make sure you check that out. So the $1 million question is, can this replace your laptop, and would I recommend it? As far as the first question goes, for a lot of people, this will be able to replace your laptop. If you're just somebody that lives in the cloud, you do an occasional word processing document, and you like to watch media content consumption, i.e. YouTube, Netflix, and all that, then this could totally be your only device and replace your laptop. However, if you're someone that has stronger needs, such as a video editor who uses Adobe Premiere Pro or any of the other Adobe CC suites, then this definitely would not replace your laptop. Then you would obviously need to have a laptop. But really, like I said, this thing comes very close to being able to replace your laptop. And like I said, for most people, this actually could. But for what you pay for this, you know, you could always get a Surface or a premium laptop. So really, I think just because of the price of this, it's not really a good laptop alternative, because you're really making a lot of compromises in order to use this as a laptop. But it's your money, you know. So really that brings to question, you know, who is this device really for, and would I recommend it? Now, if you're someone that's just looking for a giant iPad Air 2, then this is your device. I would totally recommend it, because essentially this is just a giant iPad Air 2. I mean, there's no really optimizations as far as iOS yet. So really, you're getting all the same features in this that you have in your iPad Air 2, minus the Apple Pencil support, which you may or may not want that. So like I said, I'm going to talk about that in a separate video, but for now I'm just focusing on the tablet. Now, as far as if you're really looking for a pro tablet, this isn't it. I've talked about this before. They should have named this the iPad Plus instead of the iPad Pro, because there's really nothing pro about this. If you're looking for a pro tablet, I still stick by recommending the now almost 2-year-old Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. So really, in my opinion, that is the only pure tablet that's actually a pro tablet out there. Obviously the Surface line is really a PC that is in a tablet form factor, but if you're looking for just a pro tablet, then the only one out there, I think, is the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. So just something to think about, because that is half the cost of this thing, and you can even find it even cheaper on eBay and Craigslist. And finally, the last question you guys may have is, am I going to keep this device? And the answer is yes. I bought this through my carrier, so I was able to subsidize it, so I didn't have to go in and drop $1,000 right off the bat. But I am going to keep this, and I'll show you the best use I found for it yet. So my favorite usage of the new iPad Pro is as a second monitor for my little Surface Pro 2. So I've essentially got a 13-inch high definition monitor, and as you can see, it works pretty darn well. So there you have it. That is my review and thoughts of the iPad Pro. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed, please do so. I am going to do a complete review of the Logitech keyboard case for the iPad Pro. So like I said, if you would like to see that, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get the notification when that video is up. As always, thanks for watching.